Hello and welcome to the Average FPLers podcast. My name is Russell, and as always, I'm joined by Mike. How are we doing?
Ahoy there.
Ahoy. Game week 35 has just finished, so we will be looking ahead at game week 36. Start off with, let's look at the topics. Quick review of game week 35, and then looking ahead at game week 36. Obviously, it's the last few game weeks of the season. Game week 37 is a
3 left.
double, so 3 left. Yeah, thank God.
Aim for a strong finish,
Yeah.
taking us into the Euros,
Yeah.
which I will not be playing the Euros fantasy. I need the time off.
Yeah, no, I probably won't be.
As much as I like the idea of it, because it's got different ways of doing chip strategies, kind of more like an FPL challenge. It's just, I'm exhausted. I need that 6 weeks off before it all starts up again.
I think you're exhausted. I've had a terrible few weeks, so
Yeah.
which has not changed, as we'll see in a moment. So yeah, looking ahead at double game week 37. And as always, we'll look at the Fantasy Football Hub AI recommended transfers. I think you're going to like your one, Mike. So
Sweet. Better not we get Emerson Royale, because I will be fucking livid if it is.
Oh no, it's not. We'll see. You might think it's worse or better. Don't know.
I'll play it by ear.
Yeah. But yeah, game week 35. So you were on a wild card. That went quite well.
Reasonably. A couple of accidents, a couple of mistakes, some unfortunate moments.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, I originally had Romero when we recorded last week.
Oh yeah, that would have been good.
Compared to Porro, would have been a significantly better point score.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I did think about bringing Gordon in. That was one of my mistakes. Didn't do that.
I knew I was getting Gordon because of they had Sheffield United at home, and Gordon's record at home is stupid this season.
Yeah.
I think he's got like 13 returns in about 10 games. So I thought, no matter what, Operation Get Gordon time, I'm going to have to relent to the hub. It says, do you know what? Have you ever considered buying Gordon?
Well, they've
So I was
stopped.
like,
They've stopped
bring.
now. But
Yes, of course they've stopped, because I guess the expectation is everyone's got him in their team, or the hub's telling us to go for double game week because you've got more favourable fixtures, which turns out it's a bit of a scam, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you did all right. Petrovic, did you all right?
Petrovic, I figured would do me all right because I knew Tottenham would be bad against Chelsea. Jackson was worth a gamble.
I mean, they shouldn't really scored against Arsenal either. It's just Raya decided to go full Lloris and
yeah, exactly.
pass Romero the ball.
And then consider myself.
Yeah, and then Rice just decided to full blown volley someone in the penalty area. So
yeah, I mean, I can consider myself lucky in that sense, because Romero probably wouldn't have scored if it wasn't for
he
if
did.
it wasn't for Raya being silly.
He did have a couple of chances before that. He hit the post.
Yes, he did. I mean, he had a gilt-edged chance against Chelsea in the first half, and put it wide.
Yeah.
So if he'd scored that one, then I'd probably be head in my hands, disappointed that I'd missed out on like a double figure haul. I opted for Maddison because I thought his minutes should be slightly secure, and I was hoping he would bounce back after quite a horrid time after return from injury. But I get 3 points. It's something. It's not a lot, but it is something.
I had the same with Johnson. It was annoying.
Yeah,
Didn't start the Arsenal game, which I thought he would. Did come on though because
we
Werner got
changed it up.
injured.
We started Kulizeski in both, and I'll be honest, no,
No,
we shouldn't have.
he's not in good form.
He was bad on the wing
Yeah.
in the first game, and then we've moved him to number 10 to replace Madison, and he was bad in that.
Yeah.
There was no one really good today for Tottenham.
Johnson should have
So he's
scored, probably. I thought.
but he should, you can tell we haven't got a striker because he was playing some balls in every so often into the box, like low and hard, and
Yeah.
no one was there. Porro was making crosses that were far too wayward. Reminding me of the days of Carl Walker. And then, the stat of the day really is that against Chelsea, the player that created the most chances was Giovanni Lo Celso. He created 3 chances. He didn't come on until the 86th minute, Giovanni Lo Celso, and he played left back.
Yeah, that's not great.
That says it all, really.
Son was non-existent.
Well, the first half made no sense. He's up against he's up against like a youth team player who's got not a lot of experience in the Premier League, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was clearly being slightly overzealous in how he was charging Son down, so he could have easily turned him and got away. Kind of like what Palmer was doing with Emerson Royale. But then we just decided not to give the ball to Son. It was just like, let's give it to Brennan, which is fine. But then Brennan would do something, bringing it to the box, and then nothing materialized. And then we'd get a corner, and then Romero missed a chance, or they were just poor corners. And you're just like, this is laughable. This is supposed to be like a team that's making some kind of challenge for the Champions League. And nah. I'd be surprised if we don't finish 7th on this form. It's really bad, It feels like towards the end of last season when everything just turned into a real cauldron of anger and despair. But it's not going to stop people having triple Tottenham because they got another double.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've got triple Tottenham now, and I'm probably stuck with it. So
because you got to, because the next double is Man City, which you're like, oh Christ, why have I done that? And then you go, oh, but Burnley,
yeah, exactly. And then Sheffield United,
and Sheffield United, who are already relegated now, so
probably lose.
If Sheffield United are going to play fantastic now they've been relegated,
yeah,
I'm definitely going to stick some of them in my FPL challenge team from this point forwards. So I could have had Romero. That was a bit of a bad decision. I'm on the fence about the Madison one. It probably wasn't the best decision, but I don't think there was anyone else significantly that I was going to go for. I could have kept Odegaard, I guess, but he didn't get anything. I could have had Havertz really for Madison's price, but I didn't. And then Man United drew a Burnley, so it's not like I missed out on a quality midfielder for Man United either. I mean, I know a lot of people on their wild cards went for Bruno Fernandes, and he's allegedly a doubt for Monday now. So quite a lot of injuries hit the wild carders. So a lot of wild cards took Ederson, and then Ederson picked up that injury in the Nottingham Forest game. He's okay now, allegedly. But that was touch and go. Fabian Schär picked up an injury at half time, so went off because it was a hamstring tightness, I believe. Who else? Moro Gusto looked like he was going to be fit, wasn't. I think Reece James was speculated to start, which he didn't in the end, but it would have been funny if he had. Who else? Ben Davies only lasted 1 game for people who bought him in.
Oh yeah, he's out.
Ben Davies out for he's out for the season. He's done.
Yeah.
Who else? There were a couple of others that were bought in. I think there was 1 or 2 Everton ones as well that were bought in, and they're just done. They've picked up injuries, so people who are getting ready to bench boost and wildcarded this week have now got like 4 flags I mean, I've got 2, I believe, but they should be okay.
Yeah, I've got one. Got Fabian
I've
Schär.
got 1 actually. I've just got Schär right now,
Yeah.
thankfully. But yeah, so there's a couple of flags floating around, and some people's wildcards took a bit of a kick in, especially as bearing in mind if you're like I was on a wildcard, I brought in Phil Foden and he didn't play either. So
Yeah,
I was
that
just
was
lucky I had
a
Haaland bench 1.
bit of a surprising one, but yeah.
He was ill, so it's a last minute thing. There were a couple that were last minute announcements for injuries that were out of nowhere, but the illness ones are just unavoidable kind of thing.
There's a lot of players with illness at the moment. It's a bit of a pain. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a bit of a rough. It feels like it's been a rough sort of slow crawl to the end of the season for everyone. They're just done with it now.
There was a player in my team. I was Zabania. Zabania was ill.
Yeah.
Team.
So that was one you couldn't do nothing about. It was well past the deadline. They played on Sunday, didn't they?
Yeah. And Bournemouth.
But again, if you had
got
injuries
clean
on your
sheet,
bench,
so.
as with that happened to us the other week, though, remember they got a clean sheet, but we only had Neto, and he'd been dropped for the second of the double.
Yeah.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I could have gone for Vardiol, but I chose not to because I thought I'd go for something that was a bit more assured of starts, which was Kyle Walker, being that he's the club captain. I still got 8 points out of it, so I'm not going to argue too much because Vardiol's not going to keep up 15 points a week. I'm saying with a slight despair in case he does. You never know. He's been great. But yeah, 86 points total. I'll take that. I think I got a decent rise in the end.
110k.
Yeah, so that's not bad. I'm still 110k off of the rank I was like 9 weeks ago. Because it was at 200k, and then I just collapsed over 3 game weeks, and since then I've been trying to get back to that rank.
Oh, well, that's what's happened to me. I mean, 3 game weeks ago I was in the top 100k, and I'm now 480k. I've had the mightiest drop off a cliff you could imagine.
You've hit the longest snake in the game of Snakes and Ladders.
Yep.
And you're all the way back down.
And I think this week I kind of reverted back to my old ways a little bit, and I took a mini wild card, and then last minute I mean, Mateo had looked so good. Haaland was flagged. I thought, I'm going to take Haaland out as well for Mateo. Can't go without him. He's in too much good form. And yeah, he got 2 points. So I was like, oh, great. Absolutely brilliant.
That was because I'm sure that's because Eze didn't play because he picked up a knee injury.
Yeah.
So it affected the Palace's output. Which is a shame because I think Eze might be out of this week's game as well. And that's against a very depleted Man United side, especially if Fernandes doesn't make the game either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, 54 points for me, minus 12, so I'm down to 42. It's way below the average. Big red arrow.
I think the average wasn't the average like 44 or was it 54?
Well, I've assumed 52 by looking at live FPL, but that could be slightly wrong.
Yeah, 52. That makes sense.
But I think that'd be close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, none of my transfers really worked. Isak was the only one that did. I was going to take Salah out. Well, one, I was going to take Salah out for Gordon. I could have kept Diaz in, which would have been better. But I decided no, let's keep Salah. I'm sure he'll come good. But didn't start. Had a spat with Klopp, so it's not looking good.
He had a little spat, and then after the game, they asked him to do an interview, and he said no. I said if I did, there'd be fire. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
When they asked Klopp, he was like, "No, it's fine." I'm sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. Klopp's not going to be there after the next 3 games. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
But there's something's obviously happened. Maybe he's kind of lost faith in Klopp's management, or maybe he's just frustrated because he spent so long playing with Mane and Firmino. Firmino would set those two up, and they'd get chance after chance, and 9 times out of 10 they'd put those chances away more often than not. And now Salah's having to be the Firmino type player.
And it's weird he's being benched. I know he's not in great form, but then a lot of players ain't. So the fact that they're
None of
benching
Liverpool's
Salah
are.
is yeah.
Well, he's just basically moving them all around now, right? He's trying to find a combination that works, and it's not. They're obviously trying to accommodate for what's his face, Darwin Nunez, because Salah would normally go up top and they'd play someone else on the right, or something along those lines. But they're trying to accommodate for Nunez to fit him in, and it's just not working. Nunez is not scoring.
No.
I mean, as much as people refer, well, I know, I think I did last week, I referred to Jackson as the London Nunez. Jackson at least scored this week.
That's true.
You know? And he could have got one in the first game as well, Jackson. He was so close. So.
Oh, Darwin's usually close. Just
he's usually close.
Not
It's
close
just
enough.
It's like pulling teeth though, watching him play at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not fun. But yeah. So Liverpool need, I wouldn't say a massive overhaul, because Klopp's clearly been blooding in a lot of the new players that should fill those gaps or should be long-term starters. Like Harvey Elliott's been on the peripheral for a while. I mean, I don't know what we're at with Curtis Jones, probably. Gravenberch has come in and looked good. I mean, Bradley's come in, Kwanzaa's come in, so they're all looking quite good. But yeah, there will be question marks around Van Dijk, I guess, who's 33.
It's going to be an interesting season for Liverpool next year.
Yeah. Especially with Arne Slot coming in. It's going to be so much pressure on him.
Oh, gotcha.
You know.
Yeah.
He's got an aging squad. They're going to have to overhaul some areas and either let the talisman go or give them lesser minutes for younger players. And it's just the same as like Moyes or when Thingy took over for Wenger. Emery, that's the one. I was trying to think of the word Emery. And no matter what they do, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, kind of thing. So I've got a slight worry for Slot there that he's just going to get hammered into the ground.
Yeah,
then
it's a poison
all the hard
chalice
work.
that I'm pretty sure he will foul, and then maybe the next
he won't
manager
foul.
after that will.
It'll just he won't meet what they expect, which is Liverpool to be challenging for the title all the time and really good in the Champions League.
Yeah.
He'll do well for a change in squad, and then he'll get sacked, and then the next guy come in and be the absolute hero. They hope anyway. That if they get the recruitment wrong, then it won't be that.
No. But we could be wrong. Could come in and smash it.
I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, maybe he comes in and he somehow gets Nunez to actually start burying chances. It'd be Nunez's third season by that point, right? So
yeah, maybe
if he can't start finding the net by then, there's going to have to be doubts about your long-term feasibility for that club.
He's going to have to work some magic to do that, though.
Well, you never know. A little bit of Dutch magic.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he'll bring one or two from Feyenoord with him. He's got a good couple of defenders there. And being that Van Dijk's also Dutch, might be a great way to bridge them in. I mean, that's speculative at best, obviously, but yeah, I think we might do. I think you could see at least one, maybe two, and then they could be the long-term replacements that don't cost Liverpool a small fortune. But yeah, there's a lot to end the season on. Really, the title race is still very much open. I mean, Liverpool could really win the title if Arsenal and Man City fall to pieces, which clearly isn't going to happen. But it's still there as a potential. So Liverpool, you'd hope, keep going and keep trying as well.
Yeah. Well.
So that way you can pick their players,
I mean,
or
Man
reliance
City
on
are
Salah.
definitely not going to fall to pieces. I mean, they were lucky against Forest, actually.
I mean, yeah, Chris Wood missed allegedly.
Oh yeah, he did. Missed a couple actually. It was very annoying. So yeah,
but that
can't see it.
yeah,
I mean,
you never
Arsenal
know.
have got over their first hurdle of Tottenham, but that probably means we'll slip up against Bournemouth. And then away to Man U. I mean, Man U will turn it on because it's Arsenal, so I'm worried about that as well. So, and Everton's
It
one
gets
of
to
our
the home.
bogey teams as well. We always do crap against Everton, so
But if it
it's
gets
not
all the way
great.
down to the last game of the season against Everton at home, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, no, I'll take it.
Considering
It'd
Arsenal fell
be
away last
exciting.
season with like 10 games there.
Yeah,
So to get all the way down to the last game of the season, that would be
yeah,
a market improvement.
that would be nice. Yeah. So
And it would create that kind of tension that it did. Was it? I don't think it was last season. I keep confusing that. Season before, when Man City had to win and they just barely beat Villa, wasn't it 3-2?
yeah,
And it was against Liverpool on the final day of the season. So you might get that kind of excitement.
yeah, yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if we get to that point. Because actually, it
You've
could all
still got
be.
Salah, haven't you? So you've got a differential.
Well, we'll see. Have I still got Salah? That's the question.
Oh, see, now I've given you a good segue to pop and reveal.
Yeah. So yeah, game week 36. I'm up first, and no, I did not have Salah still
Russ
because
has made moves.
yep. Yeah, it's not been going well for the last few weeks, so I think I've just completely run out of enthusiasm, and so I just went, I'm going to make some changes. So I brought in 3 Man City players. So
Says for a -8
that's -8. Yep.
so far.
I've sacked off Kilman. I've sacked off Mateta after 1 week. I'm pretty sure that's going to backfire in my face massively.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
And yeah, and Salah got rid of, and I've brought in Vardiol, De Bruyne, and Haaland back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're starting Kaminsky. You haven't even run through your team yet.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll run through my team.
Really
So
shocked.
Kaminsky in goal over Vicario, because I just watched the Tottenham game. So I think that might be and Everton have secured safety now. So I feel like Everton might take their foot off the gas maybe, and Luton could somehow keep a clean sheet. So yeah, why not? And then at the back will be Zabania, Schär, Vardiol, Gabriel. Midfield, Son, Palmer, De Bruyne, who'll be captain. And then Isak, Solanke, and Haaland up front. And then bench, Vicario, Barkley, Dallo, and Johnson.
Well, it's a strong bench.
It is a strong bench. Yeah. Well, is it? I don't know. I mean, Dallo's been getting like 1 point every week since I had him.
That's true. But he is a assured starter. So I guess in that sense. There will be a clean sheet for Man United at some point. It's just probably when you least expect it at this point.
Yeah, probably this way when I bench Dallo, more likely.
I'd imagine so, because like I said, if they've got no Fernandez, they're gonna have to go, I would feel, more defensive than they will offensive.
Yeah. Although that'd be alright because I've sold Mattel, so
that's true.
Yeah.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Who was the recommended transfer out? Because I can just see Mateta, but not a name.
Mattel. So what I did, Haaland to Mattel to Haaland was the recommended transfer.
Yeah, that is mad. You sold him, bought him back, and I think the only positive you got out of that is Haaland dropped in price.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
5.1.
I've got like 2.9 million in the bank with this team.
All right, Mr. Moneybags. You're like, yeah, I've got all the money. Who wants some money?
Actually, I just don't get how that's possible. I guess selling Salah.
That was like 13.1.
Yeah.
The selling price, and De Bruyne's only 10.5. Depending on when you made the move, you made it a few days ago. You probably got it for 10.4.
No, I made it today. Did it today. I was gonna do it really early, and then I thought, oh, I'll wait. And then today, I just thought, oh, yeah, I'll do it. Get over and done with. So yeah. Sets me up for 37 quite nicely. I'll have 10 players doubling. So if I
We
make
better with the amount of hits you've made recently.
if I make one transfer next week, I could get a full 11 of doublers.
Double game weekers.
So that
Got a
could be
distinct
alright.
a lack of Arsenal though this week at home to Bournemouth.
Yeah, I know. But
So if you
I'm getting too tense and nervous about Arsenal that I can't bear to put a player in. I was going
that's
to
a
bench
bad error of
Gabriel
judgment.
as well. It's just because I see how bad Tottenham were. I was like, oh, do you know what? I'll play Gabriel and I'll bench Johnson.
Yeah,
So
it's worth it this week.
yeah.
That's for sure. Because Arsenal have got, I'd expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, Bournemouth are in good
Bournemouth
form
have
though.
lost. They're okay. They've been playing in some teams that have not been doing, not in the greatest of form. I mean, anyone that's playing Brighton right now are probably fairly confident because Brighton have been awful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the team that's on the beach in that one. It feels like the manager might be on the beach as well. Even though
I think
obviously
so.
I think they've got about 10, 11 injuries.
Yeah.
I know Brighton have lost a lot of players to injuries, but yeah, it's not a team I'm looking at to get double game weekers for.
No, yeah, I was looking
But yeah,
at earlier and I thought, well, do I want any Brighton players doubling? Which ones do you go for? And two, no, because they're definitely on the downward spiral.
it would just be João Pedro probably. I wouldn't go for a defender in any
Yeah.
stretch, or
I
maybe
mean,
Gross.
I guess Chelsea do look alright, so yeah, maybe I'll bring another Chelsea player in next week. I've got 3 City, 3 Tottenham, 2 Newcastle, assuming shares fit.
Well, if he misses this
Yeah.
week, he should be back for the week after because it wasn't an actual tear or anything. He just said it tightness.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hadn't trained up until today. Today being Thursday evening.
Mm-hmm.
So he might play.
Yeah.
I'd imagine if he is even if he hasn't trained, he might still play. Especially with Trippier not fit for this week, but allegedly fit for 37.
Okay.
But if he's not fit until 37, does he start the first one? Or does he come on as a sub in the first one? And does he start the second one? I think the second one for Newcastle's Man United, maybe. Can't remember.
For
But an option
Newcastle,
nonetheless if you need.
yeah, Man U.
Yeah.
Man
Yeah,
U
see,
for
so
second.
if you like the idea of a differential, which is Kieran Trippier against Manchester United in the double, or you need a double game week that's not going to be well owned because everyone's been settling week on week. Plus, you just told me I think you got 2.9 million. You could certainly get Trippier in. Just not this week.
No, I think I've made enough changes. So yeah.
I mean, you got Dallo, right? Are you concluding Dallo in your 11 for the double? I guess you're not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Terrible memory.
doublers. My double team will be Vicario, Cher, Dallo, Vardiol, Palmer, De Bruyne, Son, Johnson, Isak, and Haaland. And then I've got one more slot for another player.
See who looks like they're carrying their form in, because I think Newcastle can still get Europe. They can't get Champions League, but they could get Europa Conference or Europa League.
Yeah, so Gordon would be tempting. Like I said, another Chelsea player could be an option.
I mean, I'm not sure how it works. If Aston Villa won Europa Conference, that normally gives you an entrance into the Europa League. Does that mean another Europa League slot opens up to Premier League?
Yeah, maybe.
Although it's
Villa lost
questionable
4-2
because
tonight, though.
yeah, at home as well. they were humbled, as some might say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's also been confirmed now due to the coefficiency rankings. It will only be 4 English teams in the Champions League. So Tottenham's Champions League dream is done. I'm not that bothered because we were bookies' favourites along with Luton to get relegated this season. Even pundits were saying, "Oh yeah, without Kane, they're definitely going to get relegated." So it was a miracle that we did as well as we did. But we are starting to see the deficiencies in the squad.
Yeah.
It's more than cracks at this point. It feels like that if there was, say, about 10 games left, the floodgates, the dam would burst and the floodgates would go with it and everything would fall apart. It's just, we've lost both our left backs for the season. We've lost a couple other players.
Yeah, I think that's one of your big problems is losing your Dogi.
Once it's certain teams, like if you haven't got an efficient or a dependable backup, it's always the problem. Not a lot of teams have like a world class backup, but normally one that will push the other player so you can rotate or be confident. Like Liverpool got Simicast, for example. You're probably not starting him over Robertson, but if you had to start him in 1 or 2, you'd be confident enough he'd do okay. So Ben Davies is kind of like that. I know a lot of Tottenham fans hate him, but he's reliable. He's not as good as the Dogi by any measure, but he's reliable. And then to lose him like in the first game that he's going to get, and he was guaranteed the rest of the season, so that's done. Yeah, it's a tough one to take.
Yeah,
but
I watched the match of the day top 10 thing. Been watching that, and they did their XI of players currently playing in the Premier League, and Udogie got mentioned. He didn't get in the team because it was a massive Pep Guardiola Man City wankfest, but Udogie got mentioned. So did Saliba.
I mean,
oh, but that really annoyed me though. They put John Stones in. I was like, what is wrong with you?
John Stones is great, but he can't stay fit.
Exactly. Barely plays, but they were like, oh yeah, he's in the team XI of the bloody Premier League. I was like, really? Come on.
As in for like performances this season, or just the best that based on ability?
Basically, just the best of the current playing players.
I was gonna say because if it's not, it can't be on form this season because Stones has hardly played.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays 1 out of every 3 or 4. Starting to feel a bit like Ledley King.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And Odegaard didn't get mentioned, which I was annoyed about as well. I thought he should have got mentioned.
That would be silly not to have Odegaard in the team.
Yep.
But there you go. It's all unfortunately when you're doing teams like, if you're doing it based on your own view, biases come in. You don't rely on any kind of statistical analysis per se. You just go, I kind of like that player. And some players you can just have soft spot for, even if they're not that good.
I agreed with it mostly, but yeah, I think they put Silver in, and I thought maybe that could have been Odegaard. But
Bernardo Silva was great, but I wouldn't have him over Odegaard.
No. But like I said, it was a Man City Pep Guardiola wankfest, so obviously it was going to be mainly Man City.
It's quite mad. I mean, how they keep the consistency up, because they look dead and buried by Christmas, and then it's just 1 or 2 slip-ups from Arsenal and Liverpool, and that was enough
to
make this Man City's to lose now. So yeah, but you've gone all in to make sure. Man City are playing Wolves this week at home. Wolves are going through quite a big injury crisis as well. They're definitely safe, so there's no real worries there. They are giving youngsters a try and blood them in, I think, for next season. I guess there's concerns around FFP again. Wolves. It would surprise me if they lost another one of their players that they've only bought this season to Man City again, maybe, because they lost Nunes, didn't they, to Man City, and they only had him for a year. Yeah, I'd. I think Man City will be good this week, and Kevin De Bruyne obviously averaging about 10 points a game at the moment. That's why you've took a hit for him and captained him, because he's been bought by about 150,000 people this week so far, but it's hard to get to him unless you're selling Salah. Like, I couldn't get to him unless I took a hit, and that would involve selling Foden as well.
Oh, well, on that note, let's look at your team then. I'm surprised you can't get to De Bruyne, actually, because you haven't got Salah. So.
I don't know, but I've spread the funds around, haven't I?
I guess.
I've gone willy-nilly because I needed a stronger bench for the inevitable bench boost that would disappoint. So I go from a team quickly. It's Raya in goal, Schar, Gabriel, and Carl Walker. In midfield, it's Palmer, Son, Gordon, Foden. Up front is Haaland, who's captain, Isak, and Nicholas Jackson. And then on my bench, it's Petrovic, Madison, Dallo, Pedro Porro. So, yeah.
On paper, that's a strong bench as well. But then you are setting up for a bench boost, right? Next week.
I'm setting up for a bench boost. Yeah. I would never have played. I mean, as much as Liverpool are out of form, Spurs' form's worse. So there's no way I'm starting Madison against Liverpool and Porro against Liverpool. That could come and kick me in the teeth. But as far as I'm aware, anyone who's on a bench boost is probably not starting the majority of their Spurs players this week.
That could be an interesting game. Two teams out of form.
Two teams are bad at defending.
Yeah.
They're not scoring very much.
Yeah.
Some of their star players, they're having a bit of a trouble with the manager. Like Madison was being petulant towards Postecoglou. Salah and Klopp were arguing. So there's room there for I mean, it'll probably be a drab 0-0. Thinking about it, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Tottenham, but yeah, I've got no confidence, and I especially don't have any confidence now. I think if Madison had got something coming off the bench today against Chelsea, maybe I would have wavered on my decision making. But I just see no.
The way my luck's going, Salah will do really well this week. So
I think he will. Tottenham's defense is bad, and Salah's going to be up against Emerson Royale.
Yeah. Should have kept him, really. I know it's going to happen. Yeah. It's the inevitable.
Well, Gaz said he was going to get Emerson Royale in this week because Ben Davies is injured, and I keep trying to warn him off him, and he won't listen because he thinks I'm trying to, like, I've got some sort of secret thing that I'm trying to make him worse, but it's not. It's just I know Emerson Royale was bad against Cole Palmer, and I mean, even if Salah's not, even if Salah's 50% of the player that we know he is because of whatever reason, injury, fatigue, or just unsettled, he's still going to give Emerson Royale an absolute roasting.
If he plays. Or if he starts.
I assume Salah starts.
Yeah, does he? I don't know.
I think he does. I think that was just I don't know. I don't know if it was a Klopp thing for saying he's being lazy or something. I don't know the internal arguments between the management and the player. But I still think he'll start against Tottenham. I think it'll show, oh, look, we're all okay. Everything's fine. It's done now. We're moving forwards.
Yeah,
let's get on with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, he'll do well. I'm sure he will.
He will. Tottenham's running is so bad that we'll get absolutely battered by Liverpool. Then we go straight to Man City like 3 days after, which is horrifying.
Burnley in the middle of that.
Oh, sorry, we got Burnley. Well, so maybe
Burnley. Burnley haven't lost a game in quite a few.
No, and they're trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like I said, our running's not great because on paper you go, oh, yeah, Burnley and Sheffield United, fabulous fixtures for goals and blah blah blah. But Burnley are in a different mindset right now. Haven't lost, and Sheffield United are relegated, and they just don't care, so they can play with freedom.
And there's always a shock on the last game of the season. That could be the one. Sheffield United battered Tottenham.
beat
Which would be
Tottenham at
really
Bramall Lane,
funny. I would enjoy that.
you know, and then they somehow finish 19th instead of 20th, and someone else finishes 20th.
Mm, that'd be good for
You
my
know,
predictions. I can't remember who I predicted, but I don't think it was Sheffield United bomb.
yeah.
But then I
So
don't think it was anyone near either. So,
it's just
Luton. Oh, yeah, could Luton slip down there? Maybe.
maybe if they lose to Everton, but I can't see it. It depends. I guess it all hinges on Burnley, what Burnley can do. Not so much Luton. Luton are in the midst of an injury crisis, and everyone kind of expected Luton to go down.
Yeah.
Whereas Burnley spent big, really big, and so them going down would be slightly harder to take, I guess, for them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of company was lauded when he come up to possibly keep him up.
Mm.
But all company said for like the first 4 months was his squad wasn't strong enough. You're like, mate, you spent quite a lot of money. You know,
If they hadn't they keep making those mistakes at the back where they're trying to pass it around. If they hadn't done half of them, they'd probably be all right.
that's
But
what it is though. You try and play the game that you played in the thingy and what your manager wants you to play, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's it's commendable.
yeah.
But one mistake in the Premier League as a newly promoted team, and you probably get a good hammer in.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, people figure you go out, and your confidence goes, and then everything else goes, and then before you know it, you're getting 5-0 hidings. I mean,
Yeah.
because didn't Burnley lose 5-0 to? I think they lost 5-0 to Thingy, right? They lost 5-0 to Brighton. I mean, and Brighton are in the worst form going.
Possibly. It's a while ago though.
Yeah. Oh, it's clearly a while ago.
Mm.
Everything feels like it was forever ago, and it was like a week ago, 10 days ago. So everything it was weird this week. Like, there's been so much content and speculation about free hits and bench boosts and triple captainships. Any chips left, when to use them? What's the optimal staff? Who should you go for? Who shouldn't you? And then Sunday's game's finished, and you're like, wow, I've got 4 days now of just sitting around waiting for this game week to finish.
Mm.
And people were going, oh yeah, well, Edison's out now, so get Ortega. So some people went out and made early moves and went and got Ortega, and now Edison's been picture training, and you're like, great, you've wasted a transfer, and you're probably gonna have to take a hit now because Ortega might play if Man City wrap the league up, but if they don't, I'd expect Edison to play all of the next 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, and other people made some early moves and slapped in the face too. So whereas I just thought I'll ride it out, let Tottenham lose because I'm sure they will.
Hmm.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
Just glad I had a couple of Chelsea players. But this week, I don't really need to do anything because I just played the wild card. Share's the only stinker really because I would have liked a defender against the Burnley side that is a bit wobbly at the back. I'm not expecting Newcastle to keep a clean sheet, but Share, like Burn, are good for set pieces.
Mm.
Obviously, other people that went for Dan Burn probably went there because they didn't have the funds to get to Share.
Yeah.
I do because I've held Son since like game week 9 because I'm an idiot. So Son's value for me is tied up like so much value, whereas everyone else was paying like 9.9, 10 million this week for him. My sale value for him was like 9.1, nothing. So yeah, so Share's a disappointing one, but I'll start him, and I imagine if he doesn't make the game, they won't risk him and bring him off the bench. Not against Burnley, there's no need. So
No.
I might get lucky. It means I get Dallo off the bench probably. I'm not that much against it. I think that's the last game of the week, right? Monday, Man United versus Palace.
I think so, yeah.
Bank holiday Monday. I'm not expecting anything out of it. If Dallo gets an assist or he gets 2 points, I'll take that. If he gets a clean sheet, hooray, kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think I'd go into roll the transfer because in that way I go into 37 with a bench boost to be played. And right now I have 13 doublers. The only 2 that are not doubling in my team are Riot and Gabriel.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to play both of those against Man United on a bench boost. So that would mean I have 2 transfers in 37 to do whatever I like. And maybe I don't like anything and I make just the one. I could change something around. Nothing fancy. Maybe if I wanted to take one Arsenal player out for another doubler, I could do Raya to a double game week goalkeeper.
It'd be good to have 2 for the last game week as well.
Yes, 2 transfers to the last game week of the season. You usually get a few leaks, but if the league's still on, I think I'd want to use those 2 transfers to go and get, depending on how I do it. So if I spent one of my transfers in 37 moving an Arsenal player out, I'd be very tempted to use the 2 that I have in 38 to get 2 Arsenal midfielders, Havertz and probably Odegaard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little bit down the line thinking wise. I might just, like I said, I've just played the wild card. It's thankfully I'm not like other players who've got multiple injury concerns. I've got just the one. Dallo will do.
You could get
Captaincy's the only real issue.
Could get a 3rd Arsenal player. That's what the hub's recommending. It's telling you to get White for Poro.
It's not a surprise though, is it? I mean, based on how bad Tottenham are defending, having 3 Arsenal, if Arsenal kept a clean sheet against Bournemouth this week, that would be like 18 points minimum.
Yeah.
So the only reason I don't think I'd see myself doing that is because then I'd only have 1 transfer in 37, and my bench boost would be 3 Arsenal defenders in it. Raya, White, and Gabriel.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to bench boost with that many single game weekers, I should have just bench boosted weeks ago when I had like 20, 30 points on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Hub makes sense. I'm imagining if I didn't bring him onto my wild card, the hub would probably be recommending Operation Get Gordon because one of us always gets it every week.
Not so much lately.
No, surprisingly,
I didn't get it this week.
I think it's because he's away form. His returns are away from home are nowhere near as good as his home return form. So, but yeah, other than that, there's no one really. I would actually switch for this week if I could. I think I've only got 5.4, 5.5. It's not a lot of money, so I'll roll with it. Take the thingy on the chin for now. At least I know with Porro he's assured starter because he's back off his playing left back. So
true. Yeah.
That's the positive. You go, oh well, he is shit, but he can't be dropped because we haven't got anything left. So yeah, it's not a great way to look at it. I get that, but it is what it is. Yeah, and I'm happy. It's not. It looks okay. The team. I've got a couple of.
What were you saying about captaincy? She got Haaland.
I've got Haaland. Haaland is everyone's going to captain, I think, this week. For the most part, if you've got De Bruyne, you're captaining De Bruyne because he's getting 10 points a week, right?
Yeah.
But I can't get there, and I mean if I have to choose between De Bruyne or Foden, Haaland and Foden, I think Haaland wins every time, kind of thing. So yeah, that's my only real concern. There's a part of me that fancies going Isak. But maybe I'm just doing that because I'm basing that on he's got good returns like the last 2 or 3, and I haven't captained him when I should have.
Yeah. Although, as you said about Gordon's away form, Newcastle's away form in general has been quite bad.
So is Isak's returns away from home.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm thinking differently in regards to the fixture is because Burnley are quite low down in the stats table for shots conceded. I think they're like 15th, 16th, something like that. And when Newcastle will play a team that's that low down in shots conceded, like Sheffield United, they score a lot. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll keep it on Haaland just because then it means I tread water around my rank, which is stupid to say, really, because I'd like to go back to my old rank, 200k, but we'll see. I mean, people keep taking hits like they did last week. Last week, I got like a 10% rank raise because I had a wild card and people were taking up to like minus, like around my rank, the average was around -8. So that's really what helped me. I didn't exactly get an exceptional score. It's just people took hits. Some paid off, some didn't. So,
Yeah, mine didn't.
but yeah, slight. I mean, I'm not confident this week, but I'll keep Son in there because Son is Son, and the rest of them I'm fairly comfortable with because West Ham were really bad the other week. I mean, I know they were slightly better against Liverpool, but they still gave up a lot of chances. So Jackson's really my differential. And a lot of other wildcarders are picking between starting Jackson or Gordon because I think they've got Fernandez or another player like that. Well, I don't, so I'm going to start both. And I'm entirely comfortable with Madison sitting there and Pojo Porro. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's me.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think Madison's fine on the bench.
I'm not worried. If he had a good game week and he got like 15 points, I wouldn't be tearing my hair up next week going to you. Oh, I wish I'd started him. I wouldn't have. Not based on how bad we were today.
Yeah, looking at that team, I think that's the bench I'd have.
Yeah. I mean, if
yeah,
Man United had kept more clean sheets recently, I probably would have put Dallo in, maybe.
yeah,
But at the same time, he's going to play for me if Schär doesn't make the game, right? So it doesn't matter. So
yeah, I think that's what I'm going for. So yeah, if Schär doesn't play, Dallo comes in. I actually know
yeah,
Barkley's going to come in for me actually.
Bartley comes in for you, not for me.
Yeah,
See,
but that's Barkley at home to Everton. I think that could be alright.
yeah, there's nothing. They still fight for survival. They're competing for something, right? So it's not the worst idea. He's got returns in him still.
Yeah.
And Adebayo's back, I think, for Luton. But yeah, I think I'll roll this week, providing we don't get. I mean, the deadline's tomorrow evening, right? 6 o'clock. So I'm not gonna.
Yep.
We get a couple of press conferences, so we might hear about injuries and stuff. But
Yeah.
I'll just go with it. And then I
Much.
think the only advantage I've got is a lot of wildcarders didn't bring along to Arsenal. Admittedly, he's not an Arsenal attacker or of some description, but Arsenal have been the best defence in the league by far this season. I think they've only conceded more than 2 goals against an opposition more than once, and that was against Tottenham, right? Well, no, they only. Oh yeah, it's 3-2, right?
3-2.
I think
Yeah.
it's 2-2 in the first game and 3-2. So yeah, I think it's Tottenham, the only team in the league that scored more than 2 against them in both games. So,
Typical.
and that's a derby. So you
Yeah.
kind of half factor that in. That's why I didn't play either of them this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be nice to see that strong defense return, and that gives me a bit of an edge. Raya's not great for bonus by any measure, but it was the best combination I could get to have a decent working side. If I knew Kiwior was going to play the rest of the games on the left until the end of the season, I would have had Kiwior as the wild gamble, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
The Tomiyasu seems to be flavour of the month on the left now.
He's doing great there, right?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
When your options are limited in terms of
as long as
what
I
you can
bloody
do.
Zinchenko.
No, I don't think it will be. I think he's lost the confidence at least for this season.
Yeah.
Same as Jesus, right? I mean, what turnaround for Havertz? Havertz come in at the beginning, struggled a little bit while he's adapting. Arsenal fans like, oh, what a waste of money, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh God, yeah, no, Havertz has to start. He's our best player.
Yeah.
And
it's funny.
And everyone's like, yeah, get rid of Jesus. He can't score. He can't do anything. You're like, he's not as bad as that. He's just out of form himself. So
yeah, but
That's depth.
we knew
See?
that he was never a prolific scorer. So
No, but he's great depth. That's what Trossard. That's what's made Trossard a fantastic buy over.
yeah,
Unfortunately, losing out to Mudryk,
I mean
you've
Trossard's
gone and got Trossard.
probably ahead of Martinelli at the moment as well. So
Yeah, again, that's all based on form.
yeah,
But when you've got the depth like that, if someone does drop out of form, you've got a great player that is able to come in and
yeah. Well, it goes back to what you were saying about Tottenham earlier, saying you need
yep.
2 players for each position. I think that's what Arsenal have tried to build.
Finally,
There's
yeah, they
probably
finally worked towards it. Taking a long time.
there's a few places where that doesn't quite match up, but like I guess up front, but
Left back,
left back, yeah.
but he's getting there.
But
See,
probably everywhere else. Saka doesn't really have anyone
but you
competing
say that,
against him.
but Trossard can play on that side, and Martinelli can start, right? And it's
Yeah.
not
Oh
a
yeah.
like for like.
Or
So
Jesus could go there, and Havertz can be up front. It's
yeah. You got
interchangeable.
Reece
So
Nielsen. You've
yeah.
got a couple other youngsters that are still noteworthy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you need. You need that kind of depth. I mean, like your right back situation, Ben White. I don't think everyone was expected to be the first team full timer there because it was Timber who started the season, and he got that unfortunate injury.
Yeah.
And then you got Tommy Yasu. Kiwior's not really a right back; he's a centre back, but he hasn't really played centre back much this season because of
No.
the.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's depth. Tottenham don't have it. Arsenal have it. Liverpool are struggling to have it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm fairly settled, eh?
Mm. Oh, cool. Well,
Mm,
wrap it up there then. I reckon.
yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Average FPLers. And if you want to join our mini league really late, it's 5FD
Yeah, join late and beat us all.
X0Q. Yeah. I don't care now. I'm 10th, so join.
I'm 8th, so
Who,
it's not that much better.
who gives a damn?
Who gives a damn, man?
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy the double.
Yeah, I guess. Try. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll be back to see how we got on and look ahead at 37. So yeah, until then, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.
Ta-ta.